Hey there everyone, my name is Alec. I am your fitness specialist here with the Atlas team at Community Transit. And today I just want to go over a quick leg workout that I put together for us. So hopefully as the summer is getting along, you're able to get outside and do a lot of active outdoor stuff like walking, hiking, and other kind of ambulatory activities. And with that, it's important to build a nice base of strength in the lower body. Specifically, what we're going to be looking at today is single leg strength. So we're going to go through a nice warm up that you can take and apply to your daily life, any sort of outdoor activities you choose to do. And we're also going to go through a sample of some single leg exercises that you can perform that really only necessitate the use of a single step. So I'm going to be using a step of about 8 inches, but you can also, if you have stairs at home, use those to fill in the place of the step that I'll be using, as well as you can, if you have a longer stair set, you can use double stairs. So you can think of creating step platforms based on the height of the stairs that you have at your disposal. There's no need for equipment in this workout. However, if you feel like if you have some at your disposal and you feel like you want to add or augment the difficulty of the exercise, you can absolutely bring in a weighted implement. I will kind of drop that in as we go where those will be useful. So let's get to the warm-up. So as part of any good workout, the first thing that we want to make sure we're doing is a good warm-up. So for our workout today, we're going to be doing a dynamic warm-up. A lot of times this is called a movement prep. And really the purpose of it is it's not just sitting and holding stretches. The idea is to promote blood flow to the areas that we are going to be working to improve the laxity of our muscles, make them a little bit more pliable and prepared for the activities we're going to do. And it's also, when you think about movement prep, it's fairly self-explanatory. We're trying to prepare our body for the types of movements that we'll be doing. So for any sort of walking and kind of gait exercises, we're going to be preparing our body for those activities by going through similar types of motions. So we're going to be starting with some standing or walking marches. We're going to move on to what are called ground sweeps. So starting to actually get into active dynamic stretching by going through motions that are stretching our lower body, but are also similar to kind of walking patterns. And finally, tying it together with some walking lunges. So working on some higher difficulty, muscle activation, getting kind of deeper into our ranges and preparing our body for some hard work. Like I said, for places where you can implement a little bit of external weight, we generally don't add too much resistance to our dynamic warm-ups unless they are more weightlifting oriented. But for the marching exercise, if you have a weight at your disposal, I have a 10-pound dumbbell right here, we can look to create some difficulty in our marching exercise by adding an overhead or side hold dumbbell. So if you have 2, you can carry 2 on the side. I like to do 1 overhead because it creates more of a balance and control challenge while we're doing our marching. It's more of a coordination exercise. So going through those, if you have a length of space that you can go down and back, we are going to be doing laps of this, but if you want, you can also perform this in place, in which case you will do 10 repetitions per leg or 20 repetitions total, just keeping in mind that we're doing 2 laps of each, meaning that if you do your marches and you do 20 of them, you're going to do 20 again. So we'll start with marches. So you can start the weight overhead, weights at your side, or you can start with no weight. But in any case, with our marches, we're going to be going single leg up to about 90 degrees parallel, keeping our torso tall. If you don't have any weight, you can march and run with it. And we're just going to be doing both sides, alternating until we get to 20 total, or 10 on each side. Again, if you have a space to work with, think about walking forward, going through all your repetitions. You have a weight in your hand, you can do it that way as well. Once you've gone through 2 laps, so either 20 down and 20 back, or 20 in place, pause, 20 in place again. We'll move on to ground sweeps. So this one we will not be using a weight. This one, starting their feet together, and take one step forward, push your hips back so you're staying nice and tall through your torso. Push your hips back, get the weight onto that back leg by driving your legs in towards your hips. And as you get low, try to stay tall for as long as possible. Ground sweeps. You're sweeping the floor with your hands and then walk through. And so with this, we'll walk forward. So if I get over here, step, back, sweep, forward. Step, back, sweep, forward. 20 down, 20 back for 2 laps. Finally, with walking lunges, we are looking to do a step forward, dropping our hips straight down as low as we can. So with this exercise, there's a lot of creative liberty as far as how far you can go. The idea here is we really want to work the front leg, but we want to limit the amount of stretch and work that we're getting out of the back leg. So when I'm going here, I'm dropping my hips down. That's as far as I can go. That's great. You're working. If you can go lower, go for it. The idea here is we don't want our knee to drive forward too far. We want to keep the weight over our heel, and we do that by dropping down and not dropping forward. But once we get as low as we feel comfortable with, drive up, meet the leg at the top, and go forward and keep going. So 20 down, 20 back. That's 2 laps. And that concludes the warm-up. All right, so now that we've gotten through our dynamic warm-up, we're gonna get into the bulk of the workout. I've added my step here. As you can see, it's about the height, maybe 1.5 to 2 stair steps. 1 if you have fairly tall stairs. But at any rate, this is the only implement that we need to get through our workout. This is the only external device. And what we are gonna do is we're going to do a series of 3 single leg exercises, all from this platform. And we're gonna do them all on one leg. Once we're done with that, we'll then switch to the other leg and do the same thing with the other leg. The goal of our workout is to work through that on each leg 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, switch legs, 1, 2, 3, switch legs, all the way through 3 sets. This should be sufficient number of reps to get you fairly fatigued, but the goal of this is not to bust out really hard reps and fly through it. The goal is to really work on balance and coordination and make sure that we're working through our hips and our legs without getting a whole lot of shifting from the rest of our body. So I will demonstrate what our 3 exercises are going to look like in succession using this. And again, with this, with actually the first 2 exercises predominantly, you can use an external load. We can hop this dumbbell in here. But I would highly suggest going through at least 1 round on each leg without using it, so that you can get a feel for the balance and coordination that it takes to get through these exercises. I guarantee you, if this is something that you are new with, you will definitely feel the right muscles working, and you will feel like you are getting a good workout in without having to add any weight to this workout. So with that being said, we're going to start with lateral step downs. So I will show you by getting to the side of this here. You can imagine that if you're doing this, you can stand at the side of your step. These are your stairs going up. You can stand at the side of your step, but I will show you here. So with the lateral step downs, we're going to line up so our feet are still kind of in line like they would be if we were standing here, just with 1 foot up on the step. I'm going to try to keep my hips on a level plane. I'm going to lightly draw in my belly button to make sure that my core is active and I'm not getting loose and uncontrolled through my torso. Start with my hands on my hips so I can feel out where my hips are. And I'm going to drive through this leg, through the midfoot and the arch, and push myself up to tall. Really trying not to engage anything from the left side. And when I go down, now that I'm up here, I'm going to go down until my foot feels the ground beneath it, but I'm not going to rest my foot at the bottom. So I'm going to stick my butt back slightly, lower, bringing my leg in towards my hips. Once I feel the ground underneath me, I'm going to come back up nice and tall. Again, I'm not crashing down here. I am lowering, feeling, and coming back up. One of the biggest points of emphasis for this exercise, and honestly for all three of these, is to feel the control of your knee. We're not letting our knee collapse or bow out. We're keeping it in a linear plane. So as I lower, you can look down, keeping it straight, not letting it fall, not letting it shake. I'm keeping it straight until I come down, driving it back up. Down, driving it back up. As you start to get more comfortable, as I have said here in blue, you can take your hands off your hips. We can start adding a knee raise, kind of like our marches were at the beginning. Low, up, low, up. We'll do 15 of those before we move on to the next exercise. Once we're done with the lateral step downs, we will work on forward step ups. So this is a little bit more of a strong exercise. This is one of those ones where, for the first one, definitely consider using a single step, but when you get into the step ups, these ones will be a little bit easier, a little more powerful, more power driven through the glutes. You can consider using a higher step. I'm going to do all mine from the single step, but if you have access to something a little bit higher, feel free to use it. At any rate, we are going to step forward, getting as much of our foot on the stairs as you can, because we are driving through the midfoot. We're not driving through the ball of our foot. And we're going to do the same thing. Get weight over the leg that's working. Very little work happening from the back foot. Driving up, knee up at the top, back down with control. Not crashing to the bottom, back down with control. With this one, it's okay to rest at the bottom before you come back up for your next rep. Down, up. You get through 15 repetitions here. Again, if you need a higher step, go for it. Once we get through 15, we'll go on to airplanes. Now this exercise has a little more creative control on it because you can dictate how far you go back. With this one, I would highly suggest having a guardrail or something that you can use for balance, like a chair, so that you can make sure you have something in case this one's going to be a little bit more balance oriented. So if you have something like that, keep it nearby. But what we're going to do is we're going to go back to that lateral stepping position. I'm going to come up to the top. What we are going to do is we are going to hinge backwards, getting the weight all in that one leg, torso forward, leg backwards. We're going to reach back as far as we can until our foot touches down, and we're going to come back up. So the idea is we're doing that lateral step down like we were before, but now we're creating a deeper angle. Torso is tall, abdomen is tight. We're creating as much of a parallel angle as we can as we go down, and we're coming back up. This is a great one where if you have that balance aspect in front of you, you can hover your hands over it, come back through just like so. Really trying to get a stretch out of the back of the thigh and go as far as possible. That one, because we're going slow and controlled, we only need 10 repetitions. So again, we're going to go one after the other. So here, lateral step ups for 15. Once we're done, forward step ups for 15. Once we're done, back to that lateral position, hips back, hands forward, driving through, just like so. Once you're done with that, switch legs, and after you get through a set on both sides, reassess. Try to find places to make it more difficult. If you need a weighted implement and you have one, feel free to go for it. If you don't, get through a workout like this. You'll definitely be feeling it in the hips and the thighs. So if you have any questions about that workout and need anything else from me, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. You can email me, and you can also call us at 425-348-7156 or text us at 425-551-8862. With that, I hope you have a great workout, and you will see me soon.